And welcome to show number 147. That's right, show number one, Will Demps, or show number one, Greg Jackson. Stephen Diddy just drove off the road. Those are two shitty Giants from the 90s. Show number 147. Of course, I got to mention Vin Diddy because 47 is his magical number. More on that on another show. I'm going to have Stephen Diddy on the air. This is the Jimmy Palumbo Show after the NFL season. Of course, behind the glass, my broadcast buddy for so many years, Mr. Dave Sturchio, all smiles as a Dallas Cowboy fan. Good evening, Dave. How are we doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. How's the trip out to Cali, the West Coast?
Trip was very good. I got this jersey from my buddy who passed away, actually. I'm going to talk more about that later on. It's my first Nick jersey I've ever owned. And it's Mitchell from, what's his name? Number 2, Robinson.
Nate Robinson.
Nate Robinson, which I couldn't stand as a player. But it's Eddie's shirt, so we'll wear it anyway. We're going to talk about the LA trip in detail here at Shea. So, you're a little bit happy. I know we're going to get into the Cowboy stuff later, but quickly, you guys won a division because of the absolute eyewear collapse of the Philadelphia Eagles. The Giants just completely dominated them, and when that happens, look out. And listen, Cowboys really didn't suck all year. Had a couple of shitty games. All NFL teams go through it, but they pretty much, that's why I think the Cowboys are going to be a threat in the playoffs, because they didn't have that. Well, there was a couple of bad games, no question, but to me, there wasn't that for more than 2 or 3 weeks, really more than 1 week. And I think that's why they're going to be, they could cause some damage. However, sadly, in your case, of all the NFL teams you have to play the Green Bay Packers. Now, it's fun for us because those of you scoring at home, Chris Gucci, partner of Dave and former co-host, and we have him on every now and then at Bus Chops. He's a huge Packer fan. Packers have stunk all year. So in many ways, this is perfect for the Cowboys. You're going to get one game under your belt. The Packers stink. I think you should blow them out. However, if you lose to the Packers, you just can't.
I just talked to Chris 10 minutes ago about some stuff, and I said I was like, I will be inconsolable if the Cowboys trip up here.
You know what? I totally agree with it. Listen, if the Giants ever played the Cowboys in the playoffs and they won, you wouldn't be able to do the show. I'd be relentless. It'd be abusive. But I think it's I think it's a good matchup for the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys are going to do well against them. Anyway, so that going on. But of course, at the top of the show, those of you continuing scoring at home here from the Omni. I haven't said the Omni in a while. Baseball card time, and this one is a shitty player. I'm not even sure you're going to know who this is. He is Sam Horn. I know you don't remember him.
You know what? The name does sound familiar. I just can't.
I'll tell you why. He might. He did a lot of announcing on NESN Red Sox games. Maybe that's what you may know him for. He did for years after that, especially when they won it the first time. Now, of course, Sam Horn, 8 years in the bigs. Lifetime batting average of 240, which means he'll make about $17 million a year. 250 hits and 62 home runs lifetime. Played with Boston, Baltimore, Cleveland, and the Yankees signed him as a free agent, but they cut him in June, and Baseball Reference doesn't have him as an at-bat. So he must have been hurt, or I don't know how that works. It said he signed with the Yankees. They cut him in June, and it was 93, 94 when the Yankees sucked, so he must have sucked. He was a first-round draft pick. He had a good rookie season. He was a big guy. He was known as the Fenway Fridge, which that's one of those nicknames that only 9 people know. He did score the first run at Camden Yards. I love little stats when you read about him online. He scored the first run at Camden Yards. I'm like, that's something you can put on a plaque. He also is known for something as a horn, is when you strike out 6 times in a game. One of the guys said that
six.
The Nick 6. Yeah, it was a 15.
I know it's a golden sombrero when you do it 3 times, right?
No, yeah, something like that. But 6 is called a horn.
You gotta you shouldn't.
But I think it was 15. It might have been 15 innings, but still 6 times.
Who gives a shit? 6. Jeez, make fucking contact for Christ's sake.
I mean, we're mocking that out, but I'm sure Giancarlo was over 3 with 3 strikeouts, and the following day he was over 3 with 3 strikeouts.
Correct.
But it's a weird stat. I love this shit. He homered in his first minor league game, right? That's kind of cool. First professional baseball game, right?
Yeah.
And he homered in his first major league at bat. I think that's pretty cool. You know what I mean? Your first
Did
game,
he
you hit
homer,
a bomb.
and then he homered in his beer league softball game.
Yeah, then he hit a hole in one when he played golf since the age of 31. But again, very popular Red Sox for some reason. Fans liked him. He does business in there, blah, blah, blah. So that's my guy, Sam Horn here at Shea. Now, who do you have?
Oh, I don't have anybody. No, I'm kidding. I grabbed.
It's very possible you didn't have anybody.
It's very possible. Right off the top of this card stack that Chris has blessed me with, and by the way, Chris has also blessed us in the comments with the Packers don't have a shot with a smiley. He's playing with house money. He's trying to get under my skin.
Of course he is.
He's a hey, happy to be here type shit. If this was Chris like 3 years ago, he would be saying we're gonna beat the shit out of Dallas, blah blah blah. But this whole happy to be here mentality, I don't like it. It sucks, and I know it's gonna even suck more if the Cowboys actually trip up. Anyway, from the Cowboys to my Yankees. I grabbed the Yankee card. It was on top. This is who I grabbed. You might remember him. Everybody remembers him. This is a newer card. I think it was made in 91, so it's got a nice little look to it. Pitched for the Padres for 3 years, 86, 87, 88. Pitched for the Yankees in 89 and 90. So he only in this card, and I know he went longer than this.
I don't know. 90, probably. I gotta know.
He's from Waco, Texas, and he kind of looks like somebody that could be a part of that whole Waco thing. But no, this is
Greg Cataray.
Nah, Mr. Andy Hawkins, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, the
Andy
Hawk.
Hawkins.
He's the only guy. He pitched a no-hitter and lost.
Really?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
I did not know that. There's a nugget.
The Hawk he was going. He wasn't that bad of a pitcher. He pitched a no-hitter and lost it like 8 innings.
What a bum.
Isn't that awful? We'll go to the night. Final score, he pitched a no-hitter and lose. A fat fuck.
I think didn't the Mets pull that off once upon a time?
Maybe that might have been. That was back in the day. Maybe it's happened.
No, I think it was more recent than that. I don't know.
Wow. Andy Hawkins. Yeah, the Hawk. I totally remember him. He wasn't bad. You know, again, that's a Venditti question. I have to look. I remember him being bad, but the Yankees were bad. So a lot of the players.
According to this, he was here with the Yankees. He went in '89. He went 15 and 15. So right. 30 decisions.
I remember him. He was the guy like, we will go to the 8th. Andy Hawkins scattering 11 hits. He was one of those guys.
He had a 4.8 ERA in '89, and then in '90 he went 5-12 with a 5.37 ERA.
Yeah,
so clearly he was a gem of a pitcher for the Yankees.
No, but you know what? This is a funny. Well, there should be like a documentary on this. Sometimes when you're with a team, NFL, Major League Baseball, doesn't matter. If you're with a team for like 5 or 6 years and the team really sucks, no matter. When that era is actually going on, you're like, oh, this guy's not bad. But then 20 years later, no matter what your stats were, you were like, that was part of like, you know, you can't recover from that. You know what I mean? Like he went 15 and 15. I wonder how many of those games were like, you know, he had a 6-2 lead. You know what I mean? Like, you just
every Met pitcher. Every Met pitcher usually had that 2-0 lead, and then in the 8th, the reliever would blow it, and then all of a sudden he makes $80 trillion and goes.
That's why things like ERA and strikeout ratio and stuff like that are really important, because your team can suck and you can be pretty good and you can't win games. But Andy, the Hawkins, and Sam Horn, 2 shitty players from the 90s. Patreon time here at Shea. We are still mired in a new slump now. We're still at 38. Can't believe we have not gotten a Darryl Strawberry. That makes me insane. I don't know why we don't have. We got to get a Darryl Strawberry. We got to at least get to 40 eventually. Big shout out again to Johnny Kelly and Pat Volkemer, who I spent a lot of time with this weekend, celebrating the life and death of my boy Eddie Driscoll. So that's
I do listen. Patreon. Obviously, my thoughts and prayers to Eddie Driscoll and his family, but my thoughts and prayers also to Jimmy Palumbo for having to hang out with fucking Pat Volkemer over the weekend.
It was great. We actually watched the national championship game because his wife is a big fan of Washington. That's where she's from. So
ouch.
We had some laughs there, but Pat doesn't know shit. He thinks he knows college football, which is the best. Like
he thinks he knows. He thinks he knows pro football.
He knows more than he knows more than I asked him to go back and look at all the things he said, and some of them were not that wrong. But he also, the difference between Pat is he's so passionate even when he's wrong, that it's almost
well, that's the
comical.
problem. He was so wrong about one thing last year that he kept beating it over the head at Chop Sports Facebook group, just beating the shit. Get rid of Zeke. Get rid of Zeke. We need to get Zeke out of here. Blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden you're like, man, if we only had a power back at the goal. Oh, Zeke. Like we had him. And he's just like, fuck him. He's gone. Like, get out of here.
Yeah. And a big shout out to Dave Levin checking in. It was good to see you this weekend. More about you in a moment when we get to my LA world. All right. Well, speaking of transitions, I'm a little bit, I'm a little shingai. I can't get my thoughts together this morning. I just came in from LA last night.
The 1 day delay, man. It's the 1 day delay.
On a delay. Listen, you know what? I would totally let the kid catch today. You know what I mean? I'd have the blue jacket on, sitting next to Joe Torre. Palumbo will not be playing. The youngster, a young Brad Goulden will be behind the plate.
It's a veteran's off day for Jimmy Palumbo. Just taking the day off for some rest.
No way, never play on the Sunday.
What do they call it? Non-injury, NIR on the NFL list now. It's NIR, not injury related. Just kind of hanging out.
DNP. They don't call it DNP anymore. Did not
participate. That's still thing.
Yeah, if I was a major leaguer, I would never play the Sunday day game. No way. The Saturday night games end at 11:30. Time you get home, like, coach, I'm not playing them. Yeah, I'm behind the dish. But which brings us to chasingmiracles.com. That's right. Listen. You got to go to this website, talk to Tommy and Donna. This is the shit your body needs. Energy, better sleep. It's non-invasive, no needles. Activates your stem cells. Now, I will tell you, I forgot them when I went to LA, and I you know what? I'm feeling sluggish. I feel like I've gone 5 1/3 on 107 pitches, and I got to get out of the game. I don't feel as sharp. You know what I mean?
Classic Severino start.
There you go. So please go check this stuff out. Like I said, it's their stem cell patches. All the athletes use these kind of things. They're not that expensive. It's really cool. And military people use it. Go talk to Tommy and Donna at chasingmiracles.com because it's the shit your body needs here at Shea. All right. Now, in terms of the NFL, okay. First of all, I'm in LA on a Sunday. You got to remember, the game started at 10 a.m. I had to go to church and then to this Irish wake. So by the time, and my buddy Mark, okay, by the way, this is a public service announcement for cable companies. All you have to do is, I want to be the worldwide global sponsor for cable. I'm your guy. Because people go, hey, I cut the cord. And then guess what happens? No one in your house gets to watch television. Now, you got to hit, no, it's the source. Wait, no, it's Source 3. No, you got to put the Peacock on. Wait, no, I don't get NBC. You can't watch television. So when you cut the cord, you know what that means? You should read more. That's all it means. Because just go to the apps. Go, well, what app? Is it on ESPN Plus? No, it's on the phone. You can't. First of all, I'm convinced the cable cutting is what's ruining America. I swear to God. It's bullshit. You can't fucking watch. I would have turned the thing on, go to channel 2, and I go up. Oh, there you go. Air disasters. There you go. Weather channel. Instead, you got to go sources.
You and that fucking air disasters. No, but
that's my favorite show.
It's a great show.
First of all, I almost got an air disaster last night. More on that later. First of all, please, you can't watch fucking. Then you go to
you know what
bars.
It is? I think the biggest thing that bothers me is that, like, you can't. Like, for me, YouTube TV is still, like, it's cool because you still have, like, a lineup of channels and shit, but it's just, like, I do miss the days of just being able to leave a channel. In this case, you have to leave an app and go to the other thing.
In September, the Yankees are 2 games out with 4 to play, playing the Red Sox on a Sunday game, and the Cowboys are on, or the Cowboys already played, and you're watching a Giant Eagle game to see who wins, so they get in the playoffs, and you want to go back in the 5th inning because so-and-so's throwing a no-hitter and get back to the game. It's like, by the time you get back to your other game, it's the 9th inning already. It's bullshit. Don't cut the cord. I am anti-cutting the cord. My brother's shore house is the nicest house I've ever been into. He's got some TVs have cable. Go up to one of, like, the guest room areas late at night, want to watch a little television. All I'm doing is watching Source, HDMI 1, no source. What the fuck? You know what I want?
Hold on. The biggest question of all this. do the remotes have batteries?
No, there's that. There's that. And there's another
18
thing.
fucking remotes to work the damn thing.
Yeah, you bring up remotes in a different way. Of course, you know my battery storage with remotes. How about the remotes now that are all, there's no buttons on them. It's all like, it's like a remote. There's nothing on it.
Ready for this? This is my favorite. This was my favorite part of over the weekend. I'm watching the Cowboys game and the NFL slate on his TV, and he broke one of the buttons on his remote, like the middle, like enter button to like, if you say like 805 enter, right? So now here he is talking to fucking Kit. He's like, he puts the remote to his face, 805. It changes the channel. I was like, oh man, where are we at? Now you can't screw this up, because normally, like, there's so many times where I'm like, Dad, it's channel 850. He's like, okay, and then he'll put it on channel 8005. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn.
I want to go back to wired remote boxes. That's where we should be. And the Supreme Allied Commander of the home has that box on his lap, and no one's in charge.
It's like
my home,
thermostat.
My television. It's unbelievable to me. It's like, that's another thing. I got that next. I got the next thing with the whatever that shit is called. All I do is freeze my ass off the whole time. I'm like, hey, just fucking put it at 71. I'm fucking cold. Anyway, I don't even know. Anyway, that's my little. I'm right about this. I want cable. My cousin John is pissed off because he's a Knick fan, and Comcast is not on his cable.
You should no bullshit. And I'm hoping that comes up as I'm definitely gonna clip that up, but like I can almost see tagging like a Direct TV and be like, look, I got your new spokesperson right here. Like this guy has got 100 credits.
Listen, there should be a 30 on 30, and all it is a guy on his couch trying to watch the games. And how about this? Since you don't get the paper, you don't know where the fuck the game is on. Could be the Rutgers game last night was on Peacock. People were texting me, hey Jimmy, what channel is the Rutgers game? I'm like, I don't know. It could be anywhere in the universe, anywhere. And when you're talking to the microphone, that little thing, the kit thing, you should be able to go, hey, where the fuck is the Rutgers game? It should come on. And then it's $9.95 a month. When you add up all the $9.95s a month, it's like, my cable bill's only $80. Oh, I do pay $4,000 for the apps on everything else. Unbelievable. I wish they had a system where I can buy the Giant season. That's it. I don't want to watch the Cleveland Browns. I want to watch the Giant game. I'll do that on an app. But then when I want to go to the Yankee game, I can't just go. The whole thing sucks. I am pro cable. The earth is flat, and I'm pro cable. I'm so I just watch it on my phone. Who the fuck wants to watch television like this? That's what's wrong with the kids today. They're watching it. And here's another thing.
Oh,
everybody's like, I just watch it on my phone. Really? You got a 90-inch fucking television in your fucking room that cost you $1,000, and you want to watch this on your. I can see you want to go take a shit. You put the game on. God bless. Why on the phones? It's so stupid. Then you got your phone. You put it on the edge of the table and it flaps down. You're trying to get the right angle. It's a fucking nightmare. Cable. Early 90s cable was the best. Bruce Springsteen wrote a song.
2, 4, 5, 7, 9, 13, and maybe like 36. Like there's a random, really high number.
Cable. No, cut the cord. All right. Well, the Giant game I watched at the Memorial. There was 500 people in this bar, and I watched it from afar.
I thought you said at the Memorial. I thought you were like at the gravesite, like
no. It was an Irish wake at the Foxfire Room, which I'll get to more. So all I remember is there was a couple of huge Eagle fans in the bar that probably were friends with my buddy Eddie. Like 8 Eagle fans at the bar. And all I remember is glancing over. The Cowboys were up on the one screen, and I figured, well, it doesn't matter anyway. And the Giants were just pounding the Eagles. I was like, this is great. Fuck the Eagles. But I didn't watch. Of course, I read about it the next day and looked at the box score and everything. But nice to see DeVito 2 for 2. But listen, the Giants season. And now it's a nightmare. Now, okay. Wink Martindale. Okay. Now, I know the Giants' defense was better than their offense, but here's how I remember the season. And anybody over 50 will get this. The Giant defense had moments for sure when they got some sacks and stuff. There's no doubt because he's in that blitzing scheme, which whenever a coach relies on the blitz, I think it works. It's just like. It's like betting on black or red. It's a weird gamble.
No, it's live by the blitz, die by the blitz.
Yeah, right. And but here's something that no one emphasizes. Hey, Wink, what about when teams just ran the ball on us in the second half all year. Go look that up. Go look at how much yards we gave up on the ground, time of possession. So, Wink, you're old, you're bitter, you didn't get along with Harbaugh. Now you're not getting rid of Dable. Get the fuck out. You know what? I don't want to hear this shit anymore. And the worst thing you want to hear about a coach is when the Buddy Ryan thing, where the team is, when you're the head coach, but the team is in bed with the defensive coordinator. You can't have that. You can't have that. The defensive coordinator is an employee. His boss is the head coach. The offensive coordinator's boss is the head coach. The minute you get away from that, you're in big, big trouble. Now, you can have a little autonomy because of the nature of the game. The offensive coordinator does not really have to be involved with the defense at all. The defense coordinator doesn't have to be involved with the offense, but they all report to the main guy. He hears the shit through the speakers the whole game. And when somebody else is not, you can't have it. I'm tired of this guy. And by the way, he's interviewed like 15 times, okay? And he didn't get a job as a head coach, okay? Why? Now, do you think these NFL owners, everybody thinks the NFL owners are like, they don't talk to anybody. Like, ooh, Giants hate Jerry Jones. You know what? I guarantee you, if there's a player or coach that's involved and guy worked for Jerry or vice versa, Jerry Jones will call up John Mara and say, hey, John, we're thinking about getting involved with this deal. Whether it's a player, a coach, the landscaper, they call it their owners. There's only 32 of them. Hey, Jerry, did you deal with the guy at Budweiser? What the fuck? Nah, don't deal with him. He sucks. I can't wait. That's what they do. Now, you want to call that collusion? Well, to me, it's business. So if a coach is a douchebag and all of a sudden one of the Giants calls up Harbaugh and say, hey, what's the deal with Wink Martindale? Who's, of course, that sounds like a friggin' game show host, which it was. Hey, Wink's a pain. I don't know, something about the guy I don't like. And now he's gone because he fired his assistants because anyway. Good.
They're trying to get him to resign so they don't have to pay him next year.
Please, I don't care what they do. Fantasy fans don't care about money.
No,
it's not. It doesn't affect us. I just think I don't know. Everybody else is like kind of pro Wink Martindale. I'm not. Giants have stunk, and when you stink, everybody stinks. And Dable now, second year, right? Okay, decent first year, shitty second year. So now, if they're 4-9 next year in the middle of the season, hey, Dable, NFL means not for long. Anyway, I think the Giants will actually be better off with new staff. We shall.
You want
see.
Dable out?
Not Dable. I think they'll be better off. They're not going to suffer without Wink Martindale. I mean, in other words, Wink Martindale leaving the Giants is not their problem. We have a quarterback problem. We have a receiver problem. Thibodeau,
running back problem.
Running back problem. We got to figure out to sign him. Yeah. I didn't hear Thibodeau's name. He has 11.5 sacks. He had 11.5 sacks after week 7. He finished with 11.5 sacks. So, and even that, we joked about that a couple weeks ago. Micah, the Parsons, way better than Thibodeau. He only had 3 more sacks. But NFL stats, he's getting triple team, more rushes. And
do you know that? No, do you know the holding stat right now on Micah Parsons?
Never been called a holding on him.
They haven't called a holding call since Halloween on Micah Parsons.
Funny. You know what?
And he is getting fucking murdered out there.
They'll get him on in a playoff game with
sign me up. If you were saving all the holding calls for the playoffs, then by all means, I'm with it.
By all means, of course. Anyway.
Shut up, Chris.
So Packers Dallas should be fun. It's perfect for me because either way, I don't know who's hosting the show next week. It's either going to be you or Gucci.
That was Sam Grasso. Sorry, I thought it was Chris Gucci coming back in, but Sam Grasso is chiming in on the Chop Sports Facebook group saying Packers have no shot, shouldn't even be in the playoffs. See, that's it. Everybody's using this.
I get it.
Be there shit, and it's driving me nuts.
No, they should be there because the way the NFL rules are, they're there, and that's how it works.
Yeah. Well, Robin, I used to like you. Go Packers. Get out of here.
Nobody. She's a Giant fan. But, all right. So, also, Rutgers beat Indiana last night.
The Hoosiers?
They beat the Hoosiers. For some reason, Rutgers kicks the shit out of them. I think we won 8 in a row against them. That's nuts to me. The Knicks. What I'm talking over. They're 5-0 since OG. Now, how do you say his name? Anunoby?
I'm not even trying it. It's OG.
It's OG. OG.
He's my OG.
I got to get the name. I always think of how Marv Albert would do it. Like, OG. Anunoby for threes. Got it. What kind of they do? Knicks are 5-0. It's great. I love it. You know what's funny about the NBA? You play those shitty teams. Most of the time, the shitty teams lose to the good teams. It's just the way it is. And the Knicks are great at kicking the shit out of the shitty teams. And then they play the Celtics and they lose by 11.
Well, they just beat the Sixers the other night. That was a big win. That was a very big win.
The very big win. No, the Knicks have had some good wins.
By like 40. Like they kicked the shit out of
I'm excited. I like the way the Knicks are playing. And so I'm going to get to this Knick jersey in a second. Real quick, I want to get Steve on. But national championship game, Michigan's better. But the game was way more closer than the final score was. I mean, it was 8 minutes ago. It was a 7-point game. And I thought the two holding calls, and one of the holding calls I thought was horrible. I didn't think it was a holding at all, but they called it, brought Biggs play back, and that's the way it went. But Michigan was a good team all year. They play tough.
Representing the Big Ten. So
it's nice to see the Big Ten win it, even though I think Rutgers might have played them as well as Washington did. I don't know. Some people say that. But we have now coming on the show, your friend and mine. I don't know what he's going to talk about. We pretty much cover everything he talks about.
He's going to reiterate. He's going to regurgitate all his
stuff. What's up, Steve Roman on the Jimmy Palumbo Show?
What's going on, fellas? How are we?
Hanging in there. How are you doing?
Yeah, good. I like the Knicks. We were not impressed with the trade. All of us, I don't know how impressed we are moving forward, but watching the Knicks the last 5 games, this is a good kid. He's a good player. I like his attitude. I like the fact that he has no tattoos. He's very articulate. Listen, I just feel like, I don't know.
You know what?
John Morant, that attitude, and he's a great player. I don't know. He just comes across as a respectful, articulate, appreciative kid, OG. The name very suitable. I'm not going after that last name, but it's very refreshing. 5 games in, the Knicks destroyed Portland last night.
I love the fact that he's articulate. I just don't want to hear him very articulate after the Knicks lose in the second round of playoffs. In 4 games.
Relax.
Listen. It's only 5 games.
Give us the happiness
Jimmy.
Right now, Jimmy.
We don't have anything. It was nice to see. I wasn't impressed with the trade. And it was nice to see.
Next Tuesday, I'm coming in here. Next Tuesday when we do the recording, I'm going to come in here with just Knicks garb, top to bottom, because I know it's going to be a fun day.
You think it's going to implode, you guys?
Yeah, but I don't know when you come on the show next week for entertainment value. I don't know whether it's better. I know if the Cowboys lose, you're going to be just on fire especially if like one of the things that annoy you about your own team happens. Or you're going to be just so fired up mocking out Chris, and that'll be just a great. So to me, like I don't know what's a better show. If Cowboys lose, you're going to be so bitter, which that makes for bitterness. Funny.
It's going to be tough for Dave if the Cowboys lose. I don't think I don't know how harsh Jimmy's going to be. I might have to be no.
I think it's funny. Listen, I will be.
Yes,
that's going to be tough.
Historically, the better rated, downloaded, and viewed shows are usually when especially with me and Chris doing a show together, it was when the Packers or the Cowboys lost. People wanted to tune in, see what kind of fucking rants we would go on or something like that. I do a Cowboys podcast, so it's just like you got to keep showing up and doing it. So look, this is a fun season. They've played very, very well at spots. They've also shit the bed in spots. So to go in there as the 2 seed with a lackadaisical, happy to be there type mentality Packers, that's a recipe for disaster for the Cowboys. So I just don't, I'll be obviously watching and expecting the worst, but hoping for the best. That's what you do as a fan. You can't just we're going to be like, there's so many guys out there saying Cowboys should take care of business. Cowboys can win by double digits. I'm like, man, I guess you guys don't watch the game like I do, because I've seen these guys rip my fucking soul from my body. So
for sure. I've been all year long. If you listen to this podcast, I have been saying the Cowboys are good, and you know why? They have CeeDee Lamb, and I think in the fourth quarter of a playoff game, you need the guy. Prescott I'm not Prescott to me. Stats.
He led the league in touchdown passes. He led the league in completion percentage. So Prescott has had himself. If Lamar Jackson didn't have the rushing yards that he has and the one more win, we'd be talking about Dak Prescott as the MVP of the league. And that's not just me being a fan. It's just stats-driven league, quarterback kind of award. Like, yeah, he's the guy, right? Like, yeah, great.
He's also extended plays. Listen, Dak Prescott is also extended plays over the year. I mean, where plays are completely washed up. He's going to get destroyed, gets destroyed, throws the pass 15 yards. Not always CeeDee Lamb, but he's a beast. I mean, you got a couple of who else you got? Cooks?
Yeah, we got Brandon Cooks. You got Michael Gallup. You got Jalen Tolbert. Jacob Ferguson's coming on as a good tight end. Hey, Jimmy, we talk about this all the time, but guess what? The Giants are going to struggle against a Cowboys tight end for the rest of their lives. So Jake Ferguson is next on the list for you guys to try to cover.
I know he looks like he's a giant. But here's why I digress. Like the reason why the tight end's open, because if I was defensive coordinator, 7 guys on CeeDee Lamb, put 1 guy on Cooks, and put 1 guy on the tight end, the running back. We'll do it that way.
Yeah, we'll just play 14 guys on defense. No big deal.
Yeah, that's what we got to do. Patty Volkerberg chiming in. Let's go, Knicks.
Hey,
Pat, we already talked about you.
Did you guys see on ESPN?
Hey, Pat, do you recognize this? I took it. You didn't get it. I was going to give it
right
to
off
Pat,
his body. He was trying to get buried in it, and he took it right off his body.
Pat's going to be pissed because he saw it. Oh, I want that. I'm like, no, that's mine. And we're going to get more to that LA trip in a second. So, all right. Well,
Wink Martindale cursed out. Did you know he cursed out D-Ball today?
I just read that this morning.
Yeah, he cursed him out. They had a big fight, huge fight, and Wink isn't going. He's going to get paid. So he said, listen, Giants can do what they want, but he told the head coach, his boss, to go.
Yeah, but now he just left without saying that.
But he told turbulence in New York.
Big time.
So he's going to stay?
He's not. He wants Jimmy. He's guaranteed $3 million. The Giants would like
not
for
if
him
he
to
resigns.
Resign. No, he's not resigning, and I wouldn't either.
I wouldn't either.
I wouldn't resign. Would you?
No. Hang on.
What
again,
a force.
NFL owners, they have lawyers that get $7,000 every 45 seconds. Oh, did he curse you out? He cursed out the coach. Oh, there's line item number 3-AB. If you are insubordinate to your head coach, goodbye.
That's not wrong. That's not a bad play, Jimmy.
Wink is not getting the $3 million. Don't come out. It'll be settled out of court. They'll give him $1 million. Tell him to go fuck. And if it is $3 million, hey, Wink, you are a jerk off. What do you? Look at me. I got rid of my assistants. You lose $3 million? You're a jerk off. And they ran the ball on you all year long. And Thibodeau didn't have a sack in the last month. Please, Wink Martindale, fucking fat fuck. So tired of this. Any Giant fan out there, the Giants stink. And they have been shitty in the regular season, except for like 1 or 2 years in the last 25. Half of Eli's career, they stunk. I don't want to hear it. We're the worst franchise in the NFL. It's almost proven statistically. Do
both guys still own the team, Tish and Mara?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a big conflict too, man. How do you have 2 fucking owners, by the way? Like
they do get along, and
they're cheap.
Again, the Tishes handle they handle a lot of the entertainment, TV content, all that crap, because that's their family. The Tishes are big in that. But yeah, that could happen. Matter of fact, they're the only team in the league that's 50-50, and the commissioner has a final vote. So let's say the Giants had a big problem. The commissioner would make the final vote. A lot of Giant fans don't know that. But and I think the Giants, it's oh my God. They stink. Anyway, I'm a huge fan, but how could you not? They stink. It's awful. I don't want to hear it. We had one good game in the last 20 years. We beat the Minnesota Vikings. And if you watch that documentary, what's his name? Cousins in the car with his wife. Remember that scene? It's the most honest moment in all of sports. He's driving home at night. He just got his ass kicked, and he looks at his wife and goes, I can't believe we lost to the Giants. And he says it in a way like, I watched film all week. We're better at every position, and they got their – like, it's such an honor. I can't believe it. And then we played the Eagles. We got smoked. Anyway, that's that. Now, which brings us to cornholelevel.com. That's right. Listen, if you got a bad cornhole, and you need it to be leveled, and you have a cornhole board getting ready for your big spring barbecues coming up, you got to hook this thing on.
And you need to be leveled.
You got to be leveled. Gadoosh. Cornholelevel.com. You hook these things on for your cornhole board. It's awesome. They're $19.95, 20% off your entire order. If you just put in JP Show, my buddy Mike Caprio owns a company. These things are really cool. They're selling like hotcakes here at Shea. Cornholelevel.com. Go check them out. They're cool. Final stinks list here at Shea. I actually was kind. I was a little kind on this one. I could have gone so heavy on the stinks list. I could have put some division winners on the stink list. But here we go. Buffalo Bills, good. Dolphins, good. Jets and Patriots, stink. Baltimore Ravens, 13 wins, very good. Cleveland Browns, good. Steelers, good. I've had the Steelers on the shit list, stink list, I mean shit list, for a long time. Maybe I'll change that. Giants can be on the shit list. But the Steelers, listen, I don't understand anybody that mocks out the Steelers. All the Steelers do is they win. Now, they don't win the Super Bowl every year, but Steelers never suck. I would kill to be have the Giants have the same record as the Steelers. They never suck. And when they're out of the playoffs, they must lead. You know what? Here's the stat, Dave. I want to do some research on this. Steelers have to lead the league in being in the hunt from week 12 on. And the Giants are already like, well, the Giants by Halloween, they're out of it. It's unbelievable. Steelers sneak into the playoffs.
Steve just said, man, Mike Tomlin is something to just listen. I would almost, if I'm one of those teams at the end of this year that has fired their head coach, I'm going to say, what would it take for us to go get Tomlin in a trade?
How about Vrabel?
That sucks.
I don't think.
How about the Giants? What do you mean?
He's not going to leave the Steelers. He'll just retire. He's probably Tomlin's like 109 years old. But I got the Steelers as good.
He's 42 years old.
Yeah, but the Steelers never suck.
15 years.
I'm going to get a shirt and send it to. I'm going to get a shirt and send it to
Dave,
Tomlin's
you know
wife.
how important that is, the consistency, how that ripples through, every player that's come and gone through that organization.
You're doing this with fucking Kenny Pickett and Mason Rudolph. That's another
insane. And they all buy in.
Yeah.
And they want to do it for him.
How many coaches, they had a Hall of Famer leave, and he was hurt the last couple of years, and now they come around and make the playoffs. Once you lose a star, anyway, this is
Tomlin is phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Here we go. Cincinnati Bengals, of course, you stink. Texans at 10-7, you're good. Jacksonville Colts, average. Tennessee Titans stink. Kansas City Chiefs are good, just good. I watched them play all year. I almost gave them an average, but you can't do that. They won a division. But, of course, that division is Johnny Stinks. Vegas, Broncos, and the Chargers. You guys all stink, and you know it. After that, we got I love making the noise of the paper. Dave loves that. Dallas Cowboys, 12 wins. Very good. Philadelphia Eagles, you are average. I'm sorry. I thought the Giants should have beat you twice. Giants stink. Commanders are brutal. Detroit Lions, they're my the team in the playoffs I always root for because they haven't won shit. They're very good. Packers are average. I almost put them at good just to bust balls, but I couldn't do it. Minnesota Vikings stink. Chicago Bears stink. Tampa Bay average. Saints average. Falcons stink. Panthers stink. San Francisco 49ers very good. The Rams are good. And the Rams are an interesting team. They won the last four. You got to always when teams,
they're one of the hottest teams going in, and that's why I was, as much as I don't want to play the Packers because of obviously Chris Gucci and all that shit, but I was like, I don't want any. We already beat the brakes off the Rams, but the Rams were short a couple players, so I'm just now they're cruising, and I'm
tough,
just like, I want nothing to do with the Rams right now. I'll tell you right now on your show, and I'll say this on a bunch of other shows. If the Rams get by the Detroit Lions, the Rams will go into San Francisco and beat them. I can almost 100% say that's going to be a game. It ain't going to be some
Rams
runaway.
Are be, and I had the Rams at one point as being awful, so a stink. Let me just round this out. Seahawks, average. Cardinals, obviously, stink. So season ending, teams in the NFL, 14 of them stink. 7 are average, 7 are good, and 4 are very good. Now, real quick, if I can, I just want to go through the playoff games this week. I'm going to do quick, real quick predictions here at Shea. Let me see what we got. All right. Boop, boop, boop. Let's see.
Somebody's ruffling something. It's driving me nuts. I don't know what you're ruffling, but
okay. So this Saturday, Browns and Texans. Browns and Texans. You know what? I like the Browns. I'm going to go with the Guinea, the real Guinea. Flacco's in the house. Dolphins, Chiefs. I'm going to go with Dolphins. I think.
Wait. Before you pick the Dolphins and Chiefs, you have to remind the world that you have to download the Peacock app to watch this game. How shitty is that, by the way?
Okay,
that
so
is
therefore,
shitty.
It's so I actually have it because Rutgers is on the Peacock network sometimes. So yes,
yeah, I have Peacock too, but because the WWE stuff is on the Peacock. But like, I look at that, I'm like, and Keith Ernst, Brett's brother, said it best. He's like, bro, there's one thing where you have to go to like the local bars to see your games, but like the one thing you are always guaranteed that you can sit home in January and watch the playoffs on 2, 4, or 5, right?
It's
like
awful.
The fact that they're making you download a fucking app right now is atrocious to use the Johnny
all
Trudeau.
money related, fellas.
Oh, I know. And you know what's funny?
It's so greedy.
And they're going to get the money. You know why? And they put the Chiefs in this spot because all these psycho Swifties out there are going to buy this shit to watch this game.
Yeah.
They are so smart, but so shitty at the same time.
Now, you do know my prediction when the Swift Kelsey thing I started. I said that was it. That was the end of the reign. It's like Game of Thrones. It's going to be nothing but, it's over. Sunday, Steelers, Bills. This one, you know what? There's part of me that thinks the Bills are going to win. But, like, you know what?
Nah, I think they're going to win them out.
I think the Steelers are going to win. I just do. I don't know.
What? You think the Steelers are going to win that?
I'm picking the Steelers.
Oh,
okay.
Jesus.
No.
Listen, I would love to be proven wrong. Listen, my dad has a deep-rooted, because of his own upbringing in the 70s, to hate the Steelers. I don't have that because the last time I saw the Steelers in a meaningful game, the Cowboys won their last Super Bowl, so I don't care.
Right.
But there's no to me, I just don't. So Josh Allen played Josh Allen's playing on another level right now. So
did you see the catch he made?
They're all
he's
really
like
good
Lamb.
Sure. Steelers stink. Steelers stink. They don't win anything.
Listen, it's going to
be 10-7 with 4 minutes to go in the game.
Green Bay and the Steelers. Jimmy's got Green Bay and the Steelers. No way.
The Packers, Cowboys. I am predicting the Cowboys there in a blowout. And
in a blowout? You're a jerk.
I think the Cowboys are going to win.
Where you going? Sunday?
And Sunday. Then we got Rams, Lions. I am picking. Actually, you know what?
The Lions.
I root for the Lions.
No?
I always have my playoff teams. I root for the Lions, so I'm going to say the Lions are going to beat the Rams.
I think the Rams are going to win that.
That's
game.
actually. You know what? That might be. To be honest with you, that's the best game of the weekend.
It is. It is. And you know what's funny?
And then, first of all, wait a minute.
I can't even enjoy it.
And I think the Buccaneers are going to beat the Eagles, and the Buccaneers stink.
I think
so. That's my predictions. That's my jerk off predictions based upon nothing, no stats, just me yelling and screaming. And that's it. Now, which brings us to Eddie Lee Wilkins. What's my next thing here? Oh, Absolute Eyewear getting involved here from the Omni. Absolute Eyewear, 42 Main Street, Woodbridge, New Jersey, 732-326. Eyes. Dave coming in there. Steve Roman looking at me like I'm an oil painting here at Shape. Craig and Johnine Michaud, 732-326-3937. Give them a call. Family-owned, brother and sister operation. Full-service optical, prescription eyewear, prescription sunglasses. Another year of sponsorship for Chop Sports Media. Of course, I suddenly look like, I look like Joe Torre at this point.
Listen, Jimmy, I'll explain because you were like, it was. I felt like you were drunk when you were at least a couple scotches deep.
Probably was.
When you're like, okay, right? So I told Janine. We had an actual conversation on the phone because look, sometimes sponsors don't work out in the regards of like, hey, I didn't get any business, so I'm not going to re-up. There's been plenty of people that have told me that, right?
Sure.
But Janine is a rock star. She is a loyal supporter.
She's a good friend of mine. So.
And I told her, I said, if Jimmy wants in on this, because we'll talk off air about what I have, plans in my mind.
Dave, I don't want to. This discussion doesn't have to take place. Don't worry about it. I'll talk to you.
So you're about it was drunk. Okay, I figured that.
I mean, just again, I am the liaison. Well, listen, I can destroy it. The argument is funny to me, but the Knicks have won 5 in a row.
The Knicks report brought to you by Absolute Eyewear.
Brought to you by. Of course, they have Ray-Ban coach Ralph Lauren, Jimmy Choo, Silhouette, Michael Kors Light, Vogue, Maui Jim, Costa Del Mar, and Charles Oakley's kids wear nice glasses. Glasses for every budget, $100 off a complete pair. If you mention me, Dave, Steve Rome, you know what? You get $115 off a complete pair if you mention Steve Roman at the place.
I knew
this. Truth be told, I told Janine, I said, I'm going to be launching a couple new shows, and by default, if they're on Chop, you're a sponsor with no extra cost. So I was working it out with Janine, so she's going to get more reach. You know what the best part is, though? I was in the car when I was talking to her, and I said to Steph, I was like, hey, she re-upped another. She re-upped another year. This is awesome. She's like, yeah, I guess she talked to her boss, and they figured. I was like, whoa. She owns the fucking place. She's like, she owns it. I was like, dude, are you kidding? Like, she's been around for 2 years. You didn't know she owned the place?
Family owned and
operated. It's in the read. The best part is when I put it in the Chop Sports Facebook group, my buddy Nicky, who works for the town, he said, is that right by the train station? I was like, it because they just know the fucking read over and over again.
Down by the train station. Absolute Eyewear. Great people. Steve, you're not great. Craig and Janine Michaud. My new foil on the show is Steve Rome. Go check them out. They've been very good to my show and as well as Chop Sports. Once again, Palumbo is the liaison.
Jimmy,
I'm the guy at every negotiation, sitting way at the end of the table. Like, oh yeah. If I was around
shut up, Jimmy.
If I was around 250 years ago, I'd be like, yeah. The Declaration of Independence, I was there. The Constitution meeting, I was there. I was in the back. Oh yeah. Oh, the Civil War, yeah. Toll Lincoln, we got to attack from the left. That's the liaison. Now, my LA trip was nuts. It was. I went out from my buddy Eddie Driscoll. Now, I talked a little bit about him last week, but my buddy Eddie was the funniest guy you ever want to meet. Crazy fuck. No other way to describe this guy. He could sing, he could act, he could dance. He was in a bunch of that movie like Boat Trip with Horatio Sands. I hung out with Horatio, was at the memorial. He was in Jersey Boys tour. This guy could play. Like, he's one of those guys, but he was crazy. He was just crazy. And definitely, maybe he drank a little bit. Maybe he dabbled in some other things. When I got there Friday, I went to my buddy Johnny Kelly's house, who you've heard on this show before. And it was like a high school party. There was like 8 of us, and we were drinking, putting bad karaoke through the laptop, singing in the kitchen. People were spilling shit. Dogs were running all over the place. It was awesome. It's just one of those, like, let's just be lowlifes and drink and laugh and giggle. And, of course, Dave Levin and Pat Volcom were there, and Pat's wife was there, Lori, who's cool. And, of course, Dave Levin, who he's listening to the show, is known as Dave the Jew. Now, that was something Eddie Driscoll started years ago, one day doing karaoke, and it got to the point where everybody was calling him Dave the Jew. And it got to the point where I thought his last name was the Jew. And then I got to know him better. And then I decided this weekend we were doing, everybody was calling him Dave the Jew again. And I decided that it was Eddie's thing and Eddie's gone. And I will no longer call Dave the Jew. But of course, I thought his last name was Lehman, but it's Levin. I was like, that's one of those Jewish names. But no, he had a nickname, and Eddie would always sing it on stage, and we would laugh, and even he would laugh. But I got to hang out this weekend with Dave, which was fun. We got to bond a little bit more, reminisce about the old days. Of course, Dave Levin is like a healthy guy. He's always eating like chia seeds and a nightmare, and I'm eating like
no way to live.
Yeah, no way to live. He knows I gave him shit for it. But we had a lot of fun. So Eddie's gone. So Dave is losing his nickname forever. Although I don't think Johnny Kelly and Pat would let that go. Saturday, I drove. This was sad to me. Saturday, I probably shouldn't say this on the air, but I'm going to say it anyway. And Dave was there, and so was Pat Volkemer. We drove up like 45 minutes north of LA, and all of Eddie's stuff is in a storage container. Now I'm thinking like storage container, like Storage Wall. It has a nice garage. Or this was one of those containers where they ship like generators to China. Like it was one of those. It was just plopped out. It was in the middle of this like desert area. It was dusty and filthy. Now Eddie was a hoarder. He kept a lot of crap, and I'm not blaming anybody involved. It was very sweet what they did. The owner of the bar he worked at paid for stuff to be packed up and there. But it just was very sad to me to go in, and my buddy's whole life are in like black bags, and this is all going to get thrown out. Like no one's going to go through this. Like they're just going to have. There was a car in there as well. They're going to back the car out. They're going to sell that to somebody. And his whole life was in bags. Now, Eddie wore outrageous costumes, jackets, suits that you can't believe were actually sold to the American public. He owned them, and he kept them for years. And I went through them, and I just was grabbing stuff as much as I could. And then I found this. I'm like, oh, I have to keep that. I remember Eddie used to wear this. And I wanted to go back on Monday and just organize. I don't know, but I give credit to Mark, the bar owner. He did a very lovely thing. And Eddie's brother, Danny, who I really got to hang out with, he lives in New York. They didn't see each other that much. And what is he going to do? He lives in New York, and it's hard to, and most of it, probably 90% of it is crap. But I was able to, I got an Irish clatter ring that he had brought home from Europe, a silver one, which I thought was cool. So I grabbed that. And he was, Danny, the brother, was, I just felt I hated it. I was like, the way he ended the end of his life with the cancer and this, that, and the other thing. It was tough for me. But
was any of this stuff put in like a will form, or like people are just like,
no, it was technically all should go to Goodwill, but I felt like I should take it to Goodwill or Pat or Dave or some, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want strangers gathering up. Like, if I die, I want my brother or my sister to gather up my shit. I don't want, like, some jerk off working for, the Korean vets or something like that. I'm glad it would go to them, but like, you know what I mean? I don't know. I tried to express myself to Pat and Dave over this, and they were like, Jimmy, you're looking at it wrong. But I'm like, nah, I just, somebody's whole life is in a bunch of bags in the back of a shitty container. It's horrible. And they even packed like the cable box. I'm bringing up cable again. The cable box in the back. You know what I mean? Dave's agreeing with me.
Now Jimmy's got cable back. He took
but it was just like it was just no rhyme or reason. There was like manuals for a Hewlett Packard printer. Like what's going on here? Like I was able to grab the Christmas suit is being shipped back to me. A couple of really funky, awful shirts. And the next day at the memorial Sunday, I went to church at noon. I felt that let me just go to church, and that'll be part of the mass, and the repast will be at the bar. And I hung up all these clothes all the way around, and all the suits. And some of them are so out. I'll try to get photos of them. Some of them are so awful and outrageous. You can't believe they were sold somewhere. And people were going up to them going like, he officiated my wedding in that suit. Can I have that? I was like, yes, take it. That's I want you to have it. And so by the end of the night, all the everything was gone. Everybody like stole or took off with the stuff, which was awesome. When we got to the Foxfire, which by the way, the Foxfire bar in New Jersey, in LA, North Hollywood. If you ever go to Hollywood, LA, you got to go to the Foxfire Lounge. This place has no windows, paneling, straight out of 1974. The owner, Mark, is a great guy. It's dark.
The Liberty Tavern is what you're saying.
Even smaller, believe it or not.
Oh wow!
And it's got the red vinyl on the chairs. It's dark, but it's clean and neat. It's just cool. A couple of movies have been shot there, like the movie Magnolia was shot in there. A couple other movies have been shot in there. It's just when you walk in, you're like, wow. Like, put it this way, you won't walk in and be like, oh, what was Jimmy talking about? You're going to walk in and go like, I totally get what Jimmy was talking about. The only other bar is the bar on West 44th Street, Jimmy's Corner in the city. Same kind of thing. You walk in, you're like, now I know what Jimmy meant. And there was people coming out of the woodwork. People flew. I flew in. One guy flew in. Dave flew in from Montana. I flew in from Jersey. It was 3 or 4 people flew in from all over the country, Florida, Texas, to be at this memorial. And these were the old timers. And it was a combination of like sad, white trashy. I mean, Horatio Sands was there from SNL.
He's funny as shit.
The Flaherty brothers was there. Peter Farrelly was hanging out there. Another big fan of Eddie. Jackie Flynn, the comedian, was hanging. And they all the Farrelly brothers. I mean, forget it. Farrelly brothers did Dumb and Dumber, Kingpin, Something About Mary, Green Book. But he knew Eddie. And like everybody was like, fucking Eddie. And supposedly Peter Farrelly did a nice thing at the end of Eddie's life. He didn't realize how bad Eddie was. He just Venmo'd him like $5,000, sight unseen. Like, Eddie, you need money? He just sent them $5,000.
Wow.
And even though Eddie only lasted another 3 weeks, I'm sure that you're going to use that to pay for some stuff. That was very kind of him. They had bagpipes. We all went outside of this bar, which made it even cooler and shitty. It was an event that Eddie would have loved. He would have been dressed outrageously, and they had bagpipes, came walking down, and then Pat Volcom, they had his ashes. They were holding up his ashes up high. Of course, later on in the night, they're opening up ashes. They had vials. Some people wanted Eddie's a part of Eddie's ashes. But I was against that because we were drinking. We were drinking now. It was weird. We were drinking, and all of a sudden the box was getting shifted around, and I'm like, guys, that's Eddie. You can't push Eddie around. Then there was jokes that we're gonna snort Eddie because that's what he used to do and all that. I wasn't buying into that, and neither was Dave or David Levin, as he's right there on the screen. That was something, but they had laughs, and some people did take home nice vials of Eddie's ashes. They wanted them, fine. Me and Horatio Sands had a bunch of laughs. It was then I had to leave to go do stand-up. I had a big show at the Improv. So I show up at the Improv, and I think I'm in the classic Jimmy Palumbo. I think I'm in the main room of the Improv. Now, most comics don't say this. Oh, I was doing a show at the Improv. That's what I thought I was doing. I get there. They have like this little felt forum room to the right, like a little it's called the Improv Lab or the Red Room or something.
The theater at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah,
just like
exactly,
off to the side.
Exactly. You know what I mean? I went in there, and nice setup, though. Yeah, nice green room. Everybody was really nice. Adam Lieblein, who's actually now an agent of mine. He reps me for some LA stuff. I didn't know anybody. I had a little bit of a buzz on, but not too bad. I made sure I didn't drink, that gets smashed because I knew I had to do a show. I had a couple of vodkas in me, which is nothing. And by the time I went on, I was sober as a judge. But he put me up third, and I was – when I do shows in LA, I didn't have a good experience in LA doing stand-up. I was too self-conscious. I always thought every show in LA, there was going to be a producer in the room that's going to make me a superstar. I don't know why I had that attitude. I just did. I'm embarrassed by it, actually. So now, since I got back to Jersey, I'm a better stand-up, and not because I'm 58 years old. It's over. The sun is setting, and I don't give a fuck anymore. So I just go. But everybody forgets, like Palumbo rolls right's got a man first down. I mean, I just went on stage. I had a great set, very relaxed. It just went really well. And it's funny in the beginning. Here's what happens in LA when you do well. Before you go on, they look at you like you're a jerk off. And then when you do well, everybody, what's your Instagram? What's your phone? I was like, you didn't want my Instagram an hour before. You know what I mean? But I had a good set. Dave Levin was there, and he thought it was really cool. Matter of fact, I sent him the video of the show. He wanted to see it again. But I only had 10 minutes. Then I went back to the bar. By the time I got back to the bar, it was like 11 a.m. This thing's been going since 1, right? I thought there was going to be like a scattered 4 people left. Jammed. The same people. This was a marathon. I mean, this was like the honeymooners marathon. There was people in there still drinking. David stopped drinking because he had to drive me to the show. And everybody was like stumbling on each other, crying about Eddie. There was no more Eddie costumes on the wall. It was just, I've never been to an event like that. It was like, this was a Eddie Driscoll memorial. His brother stayed there the whole time, and he was so happy to meet all of Eddie. I don't think he ever really met all of Eddie's crazy friends. And then we started doing karaoke, and then they had like the cold cuts out on the little table. They would get like warm. We still were eating them. It was great. Just a good old fan. Big shout out to the Foxfire. If you're ever in LA, go to the Foxfire and tell Mark, the owner, that Jimmy Palumbo sent you. The newer bartenders don't know me as well, but Mark certainly does. It was a great time. Now, last night, by the way, the people who did, I want to give a shout out to the people who did stand up. It was Alice Cutler, Genevieve Joy, Irina Voronina, Alex Hooper, Dave Rosenberg, and Dave Renitz. Alice Cutler, by the way, easily drops a quick 25. She's a hot little blonde. And Genevieve Joy, another one. That's two girls. I love when people say, like, oh, some of they were funny and they were good looking. It was like, this is great. People don't like female comedians. I love them. Who wants to watch some fucking fat fuck tell jokes? Have a look at a hot chick. Just make me laugh once or twice. We're good to go. People are gonna hate me for that, but still, they were sweet and kind. And, I'm sure I'll run into them again. God, on the miss. Let's see. I also had I had dinner with my nephew, John Henry Riccardi, at the farmer's market. Another cool place to go. Not the new jerk-off section. Got to go to the old section in the back where like Milton Berle used to play cards with Bing Crosby and shit. It's still there. That's really cool. If you ever go to L.A. farmer's market. Dave, you've been to L.A., right?
No, I've never been out to the West Coast.
Shit. I got to get you out there. When you go,
the farthest west I've gone is Texas. Multiple
okay, what is it? What do you like? Playing baseball in the 50s there or like Sandy Koufax?
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Well, if you ever go to LA, if you go with your wife, then I can't give you my list of things to do.
I'll go by myself. You give me
if you go by yourself, you say, "Oh, Jimmy told me to go to these places," and you're going to be like, but you can't show them to anybody who lives there because they're going to be like, he's sending you to the Foxfire and the Rainbow. But then when you get in, you're going to be like, oh, Jimmy was right. Jimmy was right. I love it. Anyway, now my flight home yesterday, and we'll end this show. Okay. So I fly standby. Okay. So I'm looking at the weather report, and then Governor Murphy declares New Jersey state of emergency at like 7 p.m. tomorrow on Tuesday. My flight lands at 7. Okay, so my mother is like, Jimmy, it's raining, there's flooding, 90-mile-an-hour winds, we're all gonna die. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. So I went to the airport a little early. I got on the flight a little 45 minutes early. I'm getting on now. I'm like, Jimmy, what are you doing? Like, what if this like plane crashes? What are you doing? But you know what? Plane
You'll be on the next episode of Air Disasters.
I was thinking about air disasters the whole time. I hear the voiceover. The weather report in New York was severe winds, but the pilots elected to go anyway. But of course, Kurt Russell sitting right next to Jimmy Palumbo getting involved on first class. I didn't say a word to him. I just said, hey. I said, hey. And he said, hey, back to me.
Wait, are you serious?
Kurt Russell, yeah. I wanted to tell him, you've been a star for years, but only no one's ever going to remember you except for that Christmas movie you did. My daughter watched it.
So as of right now, are you actually escaping LA, Kurt?
He was going into Kennedy. But yes, I was totally thinking about air disasters. Now here, with an hour left in the flight. Okay. The pilot comes on and goes, all right, due to the little weather situation in New York, we are now telling the waitresses, the flight attendants, to get inside their special seats. There'll be no more food. There'll be no more services. Next thing you know, everything starts to rattle a little bit. I'm like, okay, we got an hour to go with this. And I decided, only way to make myself calm, I put on Band of Brothers because I figured, you know what? I'm going to watch these 20-year-old kids fighting in World War II, and I'm worried about landing at Kennedy in a modern jet. You know what I mean? And the scene I was watching was the scene before they jump off in parachutes. These guys, they're getting shot at. They're getting ready to jump off. And like, I'm going to be nervous about landing in a 757, whatever the hell it was. But we landed. Now, of course, everyone's like, oh, Jimmy, you landed. Now I got to get from JFK to Jersey in a monsoon. Puddles all over the place. I felt like I was in Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea.
Would they bang you for that? Like $100?
What, to park?
No. Is your car there?
I had my car there.
Oh, all right. Well, then
by the way, Terminal 8 parking Kennedy. That's all I'm going to say. I practically, I parked next to the plane. That's how close it was. I got off. I went right up. I felt like I was like, an NBA player going on a flight.
Before you flew, did you hear about that Alaskan flight where the door blew I mean,
And United Airlines canceled flights. How about the thing with the bolts? I'm like, all they're doing is air disasters will run forever with this show.
yeah, that was crazy.
Dude, last night I'm watching TV and I had just popped my fun little gummy, right? And I was like, eventually I'm gonna feel the good, right? I'm laying on my couch, and the way my couch is positioned, I could see my front door and I could see like the sky. And out of nowhere, the fucking sky lights up blue. I'm talking bright blue twice. And then I hear zzz, zzz. I'm like,
what was that?
Fuck. And I was
Transformer?
like, a transformer blue. But like, I was also on TikTok watching this report about aliens being in Miami.
Oh, that's hysterical.
I'm like, holy shit. I was like, how fast did this shit kick in?
Wow.
I'm by myself.
Awesome.
I'm by myself. I'm like, this is fucked up, dude. I don't know what I'm doing right now. But yeah, it was a
people
transformer blue. And of course the ring thing on your, you everybody got the ring cam. The neighborhood's like, is there anybody else without power?
Yeah,
like about 77 of them. I'm like, it's a fucking storm. Yeah, you lost power. Guess what? Comes back, I promise.
So I missed the snowstorm. I got out before that, but I landed in
Saturday night was brutal. I went to see my mom. I see my mom like twice a year, man. She lives up in like Equinox, Pennsylvania, which is like 2.5 hours away. She's in the mountains. I get there on Saturday with the wife and kids, and we're like, I sit down to eat, and I look outside, and I see the first snowflake hit the ground. And I was like, how much snow are you guys supposed to get? And my stepdad's like, yeah, we're gonna get 18 inches. I said, why the fuck am I here? I was like, I got my kids. I was like, I gotta get home. Like,
yeah,
fuck, I'm not waiting for this shit. So I get in the car, we're backing out, the snow's already starting to cover the ground. Jimmy, it took me 4 hours and 45 minutes to drive home. And there was so many near crash with all my kids in the car. When I tell you, bro, Sunday when I woke up, and I'm not a praying man, but I will say this. I thanked him for hours. I was like,
yes,
my man. I said, look, I know I've been through a lot of shit. I know I've done some plenty of bad things. But the fact that we're all unscathed after that trip, like, thanks.
And of course, the best passenger, the worst passenger on the trip was Dave Sturchio.
The driver, yeah, me. I'm like, hold on, and it's like, what is that from The Perfect Storm or something? Like, you call this a storm? Like, and I'm driving. Look, it's fifth. I'm driving 10 miles an hour.
You shouldn't have went, dude. That storm. Everybody knew that.
What was I supposed? I was trying to get home.
Wait a minute, time out. Are you locked in some kind of ESPN, Fox Sports world where you don't get like I get the feeling if the world comes to an end, you'll be watching the Steeler game. All of a sudden, like, hey Dave, we got to go. There's a huge monsoon that's gonna. No, what do you mean? I'm watching the Steeler game.
You sound like Bonus Mom Barry.
The world knew
all
about
she does is like, she's like, can you believe? Like, Bonus Mom Barry's a Brooklyn Jew, so she comes like, can you believe what's happening over here? Can you believe this? And I was like, nah, I didn't see that. I was like, I don't watch the news. You should. And I was like, all right,
weather at least.
I just
you
don't want
to. What are you doing?
Yeah, I don't divulge. I don't divulge.
But don't you watch any like eyewitness news?
I was a little surprised he was up there.
Dude. I look at my fucking app on my phone. I look at my app for the weather.
I get the feeling
I thought Dave was a bigger producer. I had like a helicopter. He's like, Steve, I'll be home in a half hour.
You know what happened?
You stupid shit. I got you on a discount.
Sorry to disappoint you.
Well,
Dave's the kind of guy on January 6th during the insurrection. He would have been in his office watching ESPN on a computer and hearing all the stuff going on. You're like, hang on, I really want to watch this guy's take on the Cowboys.
You're the second fucking person who said so. Like, I was on the air doing a wrestling show, like actual like calling wrestling as it was happening. My fucking color commentator was like, don't you have a holiday coming up? I said, no, it's just New Year's. He goes, nah, January 6th. And I was like, you're an asshole. Like, and when that happened, not to dive into that, but when that was happening, I was just like, done with every party known to man. I was like, I don't want to talk politics for the rest of my life. This is all garbage. Like, that's it.
But when you're traveling with your kids to a weather zone,
dude.
Actually, you know what? I blame you, but I also blame your mom. Should have been like, hey, why don't we do this next weekend?
Oh, I tried, man. I tried, but here's another thing.
And your wife was in a bad spot.
Everybody was in a bad spot, and like Miles on top of all else was screaming at decibel level. I can't even tell you. And it made me lose my mind when I'm trying to drive. And I'm just like, I'm going to lose it. So smart guy me, notice how I said last night I was alone because I told them they were at her mother's. And I was like, stay. Do not we're not doing this twice in 1 week. We can't cheat death twice. You stay there.
Stay at home. We'll figure it out.
Stay there. I'll stay
And
home.
you just wanted to clear your head and drink and watch football. Who are you?
No, just like me. There was no football on last night. I was sitting there watching your episode of Friends came on. So you should get a royalty check by the end of the day.
Yeah, but that gummy UFO thing was amazing. Dude. I'm signing up for that, bro. I'm gonna have my neighbor blow up my transform. Yeah,
I texted my neighbor. I texted my neighbor. I was like, "You see that?" And he's like, "No, I'm watching TV. What happened?" I was like, "Well, I think we're either being invaded or something blew up."
Dude, I would have broke into your Ring doorbell thing and been like, "Yo, Dave, neighbor 74, did you see that shit land?" Just came from Miami.
That'll do it here from the Omni. Another Jimmy Palumbo show in the books.
Well, Jimmy, before we get out of here, I just also want to say, obviously, we'll talk off air about the format of Jimmy Palumbo's show. I think it could become a primetime vehicle for the masses. We'll talk after that.
That's right. We may change. We may not be going. What's going on? We may not be going live, right?
Yeah, no more live. I think it could be a fun produced show where people can chime in. We could all chime in the comments and stuff while it's happening. We'll talk about that, but I also want to say that Jimmy once again has landed his 82nd assist as next week, Thursday, Roman's Rundown will debut. The very first podcast. Roman's going to be on the air. So I'm very happy and pleased to announce that. I'll be helping him out put that together. So Jimmy with another assist.
Well, as soon as you get your first show, I'll be, as soon as you get settled, I'll be a guest on the Steve Roman's Rundown show.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate that. I'll be looking forward to having you. I appreciate it.
And I'll let you be the lead. I'll be like Dave. I'll just come in, hit a quick 3, and then that'll do it.
Nah,
I'll be like,
I'm gonna need a little more than I'm gonna need a double. I'm not gonna expect a triple.
Well, listen,
at least
Steve,
a double.
Good luck with the show. Who would have thunk that you were at a shitty fucking bar hotel in Austin, Texas, and who shows in but John Stockton strolls in, and immediately a bounce pass rolls off your hand into the. Some say you didn't even
into Carl Malone,
and that's it. You became Carl Malone after this,
and ever since then.
All-time leader in assists. The Veterans Committee will have to get
number
me in the Hall of Fame, though.
83, Jimmy, 83rd assist.
Oh, here's some breaking news here.
Uh-oh.
The Seahawks are moving on from Pete Carroll.
Oh, that is a big.
How about that?
Really?
That is interesting.
I gotta call my
Pete
brother.
Carroll's
He's
how
big
old
on
now?
Pete Carroll's in his 70s, so
73.
I think it's time for him to be like, I'm good.
My brother-in-law Steve is a Seahawks fan, and Pete Carroll looks like my brother-in-law. I'll send you a picture.
I think I've seen your brother-in-law. I don't know why, but
that's at the game.
That's
probably
interesting.
All right, well, that's it. Steve, good luck with your show. Dave,
thank you for everything, fellas. Yes.
Hey, Dave, we have to talk later on. I got shit to do.
That's fine.
I'm late, so. All right. All right. You know what's funny when you wear this shirt, you got to take it off immediately after the show because you walk around. By the way, I did the Ewing underneath. By the way, just to let you know.
Well,
you nice thing you did for your friend Jimmy.
That
was very thoughtful.
To me, that's Ewing, though. You know what I mean?
Nice of you to be there for your friend, buddy. That was
it was Eddie Driscoll.
Very nice.
Love you.
I didn't think you had that in you. It was real good.
You got to do things.
You're
like
a sweetie.
That.
You're a big sweetie. All right, brother.
My memorial will be at the Omni. All right, we'll see you. I'll see you, bro.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. Show them.